Hello, welcome to the Corner Bird live stream. I think I made some good progress with my other sculpt that I did for my previous live streams, and my aircon is back. Yes, I'm not heating up in the summer anymore. So let me see. I want to show. Let me just. How do I show this? Oh, I can show it on my iPad. So I did some test renders in Blender for my other sculpt. I'm quite happy with how the progress is going. And why can't I? Oh, never mind. And I'm quite happy that this is my first time doing colors on Sculpt in Nomad Sculpt using the vertex painting, and I was able to bring it into Blender and just connect it up to my materials in Blender. So that's what this is. I'm not sure whether so this is just like a basic colors with my materials. This is how it looks like before the vertex colors come in, and this is how it looks like afterwards. And I got some export problems which I've already fixed, but I didn't render that out. But these are just test renders that I did for kind of planning how to move on, how to go ahead with this project. Because I realized when I was doing the Elden Ring Mesmer sculpt that what was it? That there were some unexpected issues with, I would think that it looks good in different camera angles, but then after bringing it into Blender, setting up the cameras, the lighting and all that, there were some elements where I'm like, oh, it would have been better if the goal was positioned this way or Mesmer was facing that way, things like that. So I've decided that moving forward with other new projects that I'll bring in a work in progress sculpt into Blender just to see how things look like, and just see what doesn't need to be worked on anymore, so that I can save time on that, and what the biggest issues would be. So the skirt looks really good, and now the biggest thing would be this background thing going on that I haven't really touched yet. What else are there? In terms of the look of her, her posture and everything, when it's in terms of all those things, it turned out pretty good. Even the floating, where is it? It's in the mess. Even the floating pieces in the background, they look really good. But of course, with this, I can plan out where exactly I want more flower petals to appear. And maybe I'll have to move this one because this one looks a bit too intentionally placed in between these two. But it seems in terms of the camera angles, I'm really happy with how this one looks like. And I'm happy with how the leaves look like in the lighting. So yeah, like with that in mind, because I want to try to work with like multiple projects going on. Let me bring it back. So I'll be working on my Nightreign projects going forward. Maybe I'll work on this like this week and then work on the other one, I guess this week too. Maybe tomorrow. And just to show like where I got my reference from, it's Bonfire VN. I think this is really good reference for Nightreign Sculpt if you're interested in doing Nightreign Sculpt too. And I have it on my screen right here. I put it in, I think I'll just put it like up here. And let me close something else. And I'm gonna put it big, but because it will be quite easy for you to open it up on your own. But I was thinking that maybe it would be informative to see like what I'm looking at when I'm working on this. And I'm not saying that I know exactly what I'm doing. That what I'm doing is good. But I'm trying my best with everything. Not really sure how much I can get done with this live stream session too, because this one took a while. But I'm really happy with how the Guardian looks like. And these things are quite messy right now, but at least the base mesh, they're kind of there, like the holes and all that are kind of matching. Kind of. Okay, let me just get a wilder shot. Let me see. Close up. Yes. I don't even know what I want to do with his wings right now. Like, it looks like shit. But oh man. But I'll think about it when, because I'm struggling with the wings, I decided to just leave it alone for now. And then I don't even know what's going on like underneath the shirt. But I guess this one looks really square right now, so let me just push it in so that it's rounder. Like this. Just blocking in. Because even if I don't know what they look like or what the details should be, is this even symmetrical? Let me force symmetry. This one too. But I think it's helpful to at least have a little bit more information than like just putting it like that. So that's what this one is. I was thinking about what to talk about for this live stream. And because I probably don't really have that much time to do much, that I'll probably show how I did these things. This low poly, let me see, these low poly meshes, because I didn't use dynamic topology with this. So hopefully that will be, let me subdivide this just to not sure whether I need to work on this more because this one's too stretched. I think I used this one and just stretched it out. That's why the polygons, the faces are too stretched out. But because you're done already, I'll just leave it alone and move on to another character. I want to keep my phone charged. Let's move on to this character. You can just right now the file looks like this. But it's always easier to sculpt things symmetrically or to do the character sculpts in the origin like this. So I'll keep this off. Eventually I'll replace them over here. That's the plan. And then I'll delete all these. I can't wait to get to that stage. I don't know how to sculpt her, so I'm just going to leave her alone for now. And then Carl did the base mesh for... It's a bit too loud. Did a base mesh for his weapons and stuff. But I think when he flies down, based on the reference on the screen, it seems like his shield disappears. So I'm not even sure whether I want to do the shield. But I like the idea of his shield because it seems like it's kind of like, what was it? He has one injured wing and the shield is just there with a wing. So I think that was a cool design, and probably I'll just keep it there even if it's not in the game. So I think this one, I have a base mesh from somewhere and kind of like did some adjustments on my own on the base mesh, the pivot points and all that, and then adjusted his hands to what I like more. But everything else is kind of just how it was like initially. So I'll move him over. Let me hide this. These were the base meshes that I used to create this, like using the mask and then mask extract to get this, and then clean it up to get this. So I probably can just delete this now. I don't need them anymore because it worked out fine, I think. Then I'll save this. I think based on his mesh, I think, let me see where I can find a front view of him. This one's good. It's quite similar to this one, but I'll just start from scratch. So I'll add a box like this and turn on the wireframe. Let me adjust. So maybe something like this. And then with this, I'll just create a thickness of 1 polygon face. And then, oh, his shoulder plate looks really cool. I think that would be quite nice to. Is it one piece or a few pieces? Oh, it looks like a few pieces stuck to one. I haven't really thought about. I'm not sure whether you can see my cursor, but I haven't really thought about how to do this. When it comes to a chainmail, I have done it before for Masma. So I think that would be pretty straightforward for me. Yeah, probably just a shoulder plate, something new that I haven't done before. Okay, let's not get distracted. I want to try to keep it symmetrical, and if I do this, it will be off center. So for So for that, I'll use the gizmo to just do this. Let me see, it's until it's like just a chest plate like that. And then I'll reduce this to maybe like this would be good. I'm just going by feel of how. Let me see. Ooh. It's a bit covered by everything, so maybe I need to see. How it looks like when it's rotating. Probably doesn't have to be that exact. And then, okay. I'm going to bring some of the stuff over to him, but right now let's just block in. So now I have this. I think it's like roughly alright to use this. So I'll validate this, and now I can start moving it. I'll probably adjust his base mesh later on, because like right now I don't really know what his proportions are like. I need to see. I'm always jumping back and forth like this when it comes to reference. Let me see. I think in terms of the size, this might be more accurate. This should be smaller. Guardian's very big. He probably has to shrink down even more. Like he needs to get bigger, I think. I think for now I'll just do like this, because the router sizes can be adjusted pretty easily. So with this, the drag brush, the nice thing about using the new Apple Pencil with the twisting motion is I can turn it like that. So it goes inwards instead of just, if I move it like this, then it becomes this like, there's like a lip right here. So I'll turn it like this. And it doesn't really matter I need to hide him for a bit. It doesn't really matter if it's a bit messy, but I'll try to keep it as neat as I can. And when I feel like it's getting too messy, I'll just smooth it out like that. And it will average out the distance between the vertices. And then when it comes to multi-layered stuff, I will try to think about just hiding, because his armor plate right here is hidden behind his scarf. So I'm not going to bother that much about it, but I'll try to, instead of like keeping up like this and risking it being what's that, like cutting into his scarf, I'll just try to hide it inwards. So just small things like that to tune out. It feels a little bit big. Maybe I should reduce. So the more vertices, the more kind of like the more I have to going to undo everything. Oops. So maybe I try to have the midline just, I'm not really sure whether that makes any difference. It's just so that it's easier for it to be symmetrical, I guess. Probably doesn't matter. And maybe if I do 7, why can't I do 7? What? Okay, I'll just do 9 then. Let's shrink this back down. I can probably rotate this a bit. Doing the big shapes first, like overall shapes. Hide this. And then using the drag tool. I find it easier to work with low poly meshes when I can see the wireframe, and so this is what it is. And then just right now everything's a mess. Like, I don't know whether his proportions of the body is correct. I don't know anything. So the idea would be to create pieces of different elements, and as I build different pieces, then I can start to look at like, oh, the shoulder plate, like let's say the shoulder plate probably looks like it ends at the same height of his chest plate. And so let's say if the shoulder plate looks weird even when it aligns with the chest plate, then I'll be like, oh, I know that the chest plate is wrong. So that's how I do things based on reference. So I try to bring this in to fit the curve, and it probably is quite flat at the top, but I can see that it comes out a little bit in the center. So I'll put this out like this and create this like this, and then I can smooth it out a little bit. Pressing really lightly when I'm smoothing out like that. Sometimes even smoothing out at different points makes a difference. So I'm like pressing on these because I want these to be more even. That's why it's very helpful to have the wireframe doing this kind of low poly stuff. because I can adjust things based on what this is. Kind of like working in Blender or Maya and just like moving the vertices around. But I feel like being able to move with a tablet like this feels really nice. Not sure how much using a big brush to move things. The larger, this one should be smaller. Probably there's a peak in the center here, and then I should move on because this is kind of done. Let me see what else. His belt can probably just steal this. Let me see. Where is this? Okay. So I cloned this and put it outside. This is quite similar. 1, 2. So I'll take this. I'll take this too. And then what else can I take? Probably can I take this? I guess that's it. Okay. Let's hide the bird. And then I'll bring this over here. And I will reset, because right now Wilder is in the world origin and I want it to be symmetrical, so I can just open the Gizmo tab and do this. Reset this and reset this. Let me see. Something like this. And I know that his skirt is short, so I need to shorten it. Looks weird as shit right now. But it'll get better over time. And then I guess he has pens. I'll use this overall shot. Oh, he has really long boots. I'm working on something more organic, so I'll switch off wireframe. And then let's block in his pens, which is really dynamic topology is on. Just going to do like one view at a time. It seems like I will need to mesh this together. Does it look like that? Yeah, I think. Wait, is it together? Should I keep it together? Maybe I just keep it together. So I'll mesh this too. Right now there are instances, so I want to keep, because I want to keep the instances, I will merge them together while they are symmetrical. Then this way the instants are kept. If let's say, let me see, if let's say one part is not symmetrical and I mesh this, then I think Nomad Sculpt will detect that it's not symmetrical, and then it wouldn't be reflected on this one. That's something that I learned the hard way in the previous project. So while they're still nice and matching, I'll merge them together, and now they're still together. I hope that these kind of small tips are useful to you. I kind of did a script, like a test script for my first tutorial, and it feels so scary, but it feels pretty fun too. And yeah, I guess I'm excited to try and make my first tutorial. It's not anything fancy, it's just about how I manage my files. But I think that is really important, especially for beginners. Because I remember struggling so hard with figuring out like how to save my files. I felt so stupid. And like I've lost a lot of progress and I've lost like a couple of my projects, my beginning projects in the past, because I didn't know how to save properly. Like, it sounds so stupid, but that happened. And luckily I wasn't that good at sculpting. It's kind of like a weird thing to be happy about, but because I wasn't really that good at sculpting in the past, so I didn't lose that much in the end. But yeah, I hope that I can make tutorials that are understandable and helpful to any one of you out there. I'm just gonna block this out because I don't really know what the height is. And then, oh, I see triangle stuff, so I can get this 1, 2, 3. There are 3 of them, so I can get this 3 at. I don't want to instance this. So I'll clone this and then put it outside. I'll clean this up later on. Maybe I'll just because I want it symmetrical. Let me see. Maybe I'll just keep this. And it's not the correct color anymore. Wireframe on. I will. Not sure whether I kind of thought that maybe because it's shorter that the faces will be enough, but maybe I should just do a new one. Where are you? Maybe just do it outside. guess it's helpful to have this as a guide. I'm going to do this. And I guess, do I want less polygons? Maybe better like this. Oh, so something that might be helpful for planning this out is that when I need to do a sharp point like this, it's better if the edge is in the middle. Then this way it can create a point. Whereas if it's like this, then this part will be flat. So I will, do I do this much? Maybe I'll just do this much. So I'll validate this and delete this. Delete this, and let's start moving. The beginnings are always a mess. And I feel really impatient like this, because I just want to work on like posing them up and all that. So like smooth, oh my god. Let's smooth this. Maybe I'll just like stretch this out on purpose so that I can smooth this out like that. So it's really about just pushing the shapes and then smoothing it bit by bit to like neaten up the mess. So it's like that. So I have this thing now. I want to have 3 of them, but they are exactly the same, so I'll create instances and rotate this instances so that whatever changes I make on one of them will be reflected on the others. Something like this. I'll work on this next time. See, what time is it now? Okay. And because the other one is the opposite of this, I'll instance this one and set the scale to negative. Negative minus. Wait, is it? Oh wait, no. I'll put a mirror. Oh, something else that I found out. Let me just create it. Is this thing matters when I create what's that? When creating these repeaters. So I was having a lot of trouble with let me just open this one. I was having a lot of trouble with creating a mirror for the eyes at exactly the midpoint of the head. And I was wondering why it wasn't working out. And it turns out that there's something different, probably with the new update, or I just didn't notice, is that this wasn't enabled. And I guess I just enabled this by default. And so I just demo like without. If you create the mirror before without this selected, it will create a mirror at the world origin like this. But then, so I undo that. If I do it, well, this is selected. This one. I'm not really sure why this one is grayed out when I need it. So I'll just use this and see whether it works. No, it doesn't. You know, maybe it's because I need to be on gizmo mode. So on gizmo, if I do a mirror like this, then it'll be created on that. But that's not what I want. Let me see. Alright, so I want to create it on, I want the eyeballs to be perfectly symmetrical in the head. So I'll select this head sculpt. And then with this turned on, let me just, if I want to brush mode, yeah, okay, so now I know that I'll need to be in the gizmo mode with the head selected and then create a mirror. And why is the mirror? Why isn't that one symmetrical? I need to neaten this out in the future. Ah, damn it. But you got the idea. I was so psyched when I realized how to do that. Anyway, that's what I'm gonna do for this one, where I will create a mirror on this thing like this, and then remove this. Now I have this mirror exactly in the center with this object on, and I will put this one under the mirror, and now I have this too. So this is good. I'll just group this up. Group this. Let's group. Why is the group? Oh. Okay, work is progressing. Right now the chainmail, I might not have time for it, so I'll just let me see one. I'll just use this first. So I'll instance these, and then do like that for now. You know, I need to uninstance this. Uninstance. But then I want to keep this instance. Let me just do it again. So I'll do this. And then put this here, delete this. So now this should be independent of this tree. And I can make it bigger. And then this way he will feel less naked. This one, maybe no. Instances wouldn't, gizmo wouldn't affect the instance object. So normally when I need to adjust them, all three of them together, I will use the brush to adjust, to move them about. So move them like this. See, I'm starting to get more information where I can see that the distance here, like, I'm not sure whether you can see, will be, it's just easier to see the negative space where this is. And then I will instance this to put on top. It's pretty long right now, but these will be replaced. And because of that, I'm just putting these as a placeholder like that. And just to make it more obvious, I will do this. Now it's a little bit more obvious. Maybe this one has to go down a bit. And now it's probably one piece, like from up here to down there, but I think it'll be easier to adjust if I split his top and bottom. I think that'll be easier. Let me see. Covers his knees. Maybe this is the correct height. It's still very hard for me to tell what the proportions are. Not really sure whether this one. I'll use this for his shirt. I just bring this torso down like this. So maybe this one has to be a bit smaller. Maybe this one is smaller. Shirt is quite baggy, so I'll give that volume. Because all these are not set in stone yet. Something like this. And then here's this. Seems like it's on like it's wider like this. I still think that it's a little bit big. Somehow I feel like maybe the Guardian was slightly easier. Okay. Let's rotate these a bit so that it follows the curve. And then scarf. Scarf looks pretty organic. I wonder whether or not I should. I should not overcomplicate it and just can just clone this up, move this like this, squeeze it, and now it's a scarf. Just being able to freely sculpt like this is pretty fun. It feels really free too. I feel like I don't really have to think about like, oh, how many faces or vertices I need to put on each side, things like that. And I need to disable the symmetry because it's different. Let me find a close up. Oh, it's a cape. But maybe I'll put the long side differently. I want to work on the helmet too. Let me just, this one's like this. Maybe something like this. And then there's a cape. I think the cape is short. And probably for the cape I will use it feels pretty similar to Maximus. The cape. Trying to think about how I want to. Yeah, don't think too much. I can just drag this out like this. I think it's pretty short, right? Remember it was. Okay. And then cut into this. Maybe I will keep it separate, not sure. Should I keep it separate? Maybe it's easier to keep it separate, so I'll split this up. So I'll split this shape. I think for splitting you don't have symmetry, so I will force the symmetry like this so that they are symmetrical. Then stretch this. I think it kind of goes around like that. And this one, I think because of the cloth is a little bit hard to to do the shapes right. And then when it's done, I'll be like, why am I so stupid? Like, it seems so easy. That's just how it is. I think there's like a basic shape of like, it goes around like this and like this. I feel like this is so much easier than Masma's cape. And then this one goes inside there. So I'll use a brush to increase the height of this, like that. And then it goes underneath, so it will, so I cut this and then do like that, move this about, so it's around, just roughly blocking in the ones that feels very obvious to me. So now the obvious one is this one. Oh, wait, it says, not sure whether that is the ladder piece or is sculpt. It doesn't really matter. And then this one this way, and this is how I block in everything. There's sculpt. There's no point in making it really pretty right now because I don't really know exactly what it should look like. And just looking at the ones that seems really obvious to me, like this piece right here is, even if this shape is not accurate, I can go in later on like this, like that, and make it more accurate, and eventually it will look like whatever is on the screen. For now, there's this one, there's this one. This one is quite overhanging, so I will try to make this one more obvious. Just carve out like this. And it's flatter here. It being very cube art doesn't really matter right now. I just want to focus on one side. But it's so hard. So I'll do this. I need to see it move, or else I can't. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, this one is a separate layer. Makes me wonder if I should just do that one separately. Maybe this should be separate. Maybe I'll split this. I think. So I split this up. Trim this away. And I feel like right now it's a bit hard to control, so I'll reduce the resolution. It's just easier to work on the mesh. Like this. This one goes in 1, 2, and then it goes up. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 pieces. Okay, so there's one more up here. I'll create this. I don't know what the back looks like, but I think that's a back view in the video somewhere. I think that's more accurate. It goes around his head, but it's quite hard to see what his head looks like. I mean, the relative position without his helmet. So I will work on his helmet. Let's jump to this one. Is this the only one? Yep, this is the only one. So same thing. To keep the outliner clean, I'll select the head because I know that I want the helmet to kind of like move along with his head. Then this way, when I create an object, it will be listed there in the outliner. So with wireframe on, I guess thinking about what shapes to do. So there's one going around his head. There's a band. And then there's a back lip. Okay. I can't think about like how many 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Maybe I'll do like 3 faces here, 2 faces here. So probably something like this is good. Maybe something like this. I don't really know. Doing the same thing. Maybe I do need to make this wider. How do I? Oh, I guess the center one keeps it symmetrical. Okay, that's good. Maybe this would be good. Okay, let's do this again. Yeah, that's a lot better. You can see that I don't really know what exactly I need, and it's just a matter of like trial and error and getting things like done with a peace of mind, I guess. Whatever makes it easier. I was finding this section here quite hard to manage, and that's why I decided to create more faces along this side. And before I get ahead of myself, I need to see what the front view looks like again. So it's pretty skinny. Maybe something like this. I have some experiences with low poly modeling. Which is quite helpful for doing this. Just putting that disclaimer out there. Like, I'm not completely new in doing 3D modeling, and that's quite helpful. I wish that there's a close-up shot of the front. I know that everyone's interested in the close-up of the goals, but I need my reference. Maybe that's good enough for now. I need to spend less time on this. I'll create a mirror for the wings. And I want to position this, like, it's just to keep things neat. I'll position this like this, and then create a box. I think the wings are quite rectangular. It's probably better to have more subdivisions. Just so that it's easier to create the... Why is it too much? Just no idea. That should be good enough. I'll try to do the large shapes first, and making sure that there's a corner of the helmet up here. So I'll try to keep this as the point of where that rotates. Trying to keep this as even as possible. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. Probably I should just push this up higher. So 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this part. I think this one is quite a good amount of vertices for me. Something like this. It's around the same. Okay. I think the rest would be without a mirror, so I'll create those pieces. Going to make the one going over his skull right now. Because it's going to go around, I probably should add more vertices, like just in case. If I wrap this around like this, maybe like this. Just going by the feeling. Then using the drag tool again, let's curve this around. Curve this around. Then smooth it out. It feels like magic doing this. Let's do this. I think it goes down quite a bit. And then it opens up like this. Everything's a mess right now, but that's because it's just hard to see. The hit mesh is looking really wrong in the shape. Even this helmet looks like Is it supposed to be this big? Quite hard to tell. But it's getting somewhere. I'll put this in. Oh my god, this is so hot. Then there's a ring going on around, and with that I'll use the left tool, left, like this. Set it back to the origin so that I can keep it symmetrical. I need to do this thing. It's quite thin, and it goes around like this. So I think this should be quite good. Maybe this is good. So I validate this, and wait, I need this to be seems like it's off center. Okay, that's better. And validate this. Maybe I need to make it thinner first. Okay, validate this. And make it sharp over here. Like this. Needs to have more pieces. I'll duplicate this. and rotate it around, because I think this shape is not too bad for the back plates too. Just not, why is it not symmetrical? Rotate this around like that, and then smooth out because it's around the shape, something like that. It kind of goes into, so moving and smoothing as I go. Why is it not symmetrical? No, I just make a new one. I often encounter problems like this. And when I do it, as in when I do encounter these kind of problems, I just take a deep breath and just redo it. Because I know that at the end of the day, it'll be done. This is not. I think that as I get more practice too, that I get faster at making these eventually. So it's not really, I don't really lose out that much. I don't really know what else to do with that. So I clone this, make it bigger. And the shape is different. The shape is more like a rounded shape like this. Follows the curve of the helmet like this, and then it goes around like that. I've been trying to train harder for doing handstands because I've never done a handstand in my life, and I really want to try and get one by the end of the year, I guess. But I feel like the increased activity just really making me really tired, especially talking while sculpting like this. It uses a lot of brain power, but I'll do the best that I can, because I think doing all these things will be helpful for making my tutorials in the future too. I don't even know what I'm doing right now. Okay, so that's done. I think probably this one is the same piece, but it might be better to just keep them separate. But I'll keep this inside the band. Keep this up. And after all the pieces are made, and maybe I'll close this for a day, then I'll start like adjusting the proper sizes and all that. Right now it's still very hard because I still don't have the other pieces. I don't know what's going on over there. And this is really hard. I wish that I was active as a kid so that I'm not trying to spend so much energy and time to become fitter right now. It's so tiring. Okay. I feel like the proportions are really wrong. Let me see. Now I can oh, okay, so it goes bigger than I thought. Like this. It's so helpful to have all these different angles. I need to curve this in a bit more. Like this part too, and then it goes out so I can smooth this. So I think it's looking a bit closer. Maybe it's where the ear is though. I think this is the correct silhouette. I should sharpen this a bit so that it's just easier to, and what, let's make this and then there's a crease. There's a crease, 2 creases. I think that's more accurate now. This one is quite flat. It's really straight. Maybe it might be easier if I put in the colors right now. I guess it's quite close. So I paint this in. And the sleeves, I'll do it how I do it. I want it to be probably just clone this up and then clone this up and then instance this. Then rotate it like this. I guess it doesn't matter if it's symmetrical or not. Then now I can make it more like a sleeve. The reason why I keep this separate is because if this was together, if I move this area right here, it will adjust this too. I think that's like a sharp shape right here. I'll create that and then goes out a bit. Make sure that this is circular because it's a sleeve. Just cleaning up the shape a bit first. Cut into this. There is the armor plate. This one's pretty big. This one is quite low down. And it's quite big. This one is also quite a lot wider. This is sharper than I thought. Coming together like really slowly, but coming together. Then the wings. I'll put the pivot point down here so that I can adjust it like this. It's taller than his helmet, but not that much taller. Almost forgot to save. And then the wings kind of go downwards like this. This one, I think this is correct. This one is shorter, I think. This is wider. It always feels a lot more fun when I can get to this stage where it's just about putting things more in line with the design. I don't really know what the others are now. And I think this is the only close-up I have. I see. I forgot to set the symmetry to local. So I think the mistake is just not worth being bothered by. So like this. And then maybe I'll just make this black first. Can't really see the hole here. And like this one's a bit like this. What else is there? See, as I create the shapes closer and closer, it becomes easier to see. Like the middle of this wing aligns with this. So that's what I will do. Something like this. And then this part is like that. And you just color this. So that it's less distracting. This one is under the wing. But there's a bit of a gap. This is a straight line. This part is sharp. Maybe I'll make the sharp part a bit lower here. It's quite hard to tell. I think something like this is good enough for now. And then there's another one. Is that really? Is that one piece or two pieces? Maybe I'll clone this up, move it inside, and then you know what? Let's just make it's probably a square, right? No, it's longer than square. Okay. Go down, rotate a bit outward, make sure symmetry is local. Go to the back. Let me see the front. It looks correct. I want to turn this inward and make this sharp. Should have made this line, but I guess it doesn't matter because it's quite flat anyway. Is it? Is it flat? This one is also wider than I thought. It is narrower than I thought. Okay. Not sure how this one is like, but it's probably connected to the bottom. Actually, not really sure whether or not it's fine to put the video up here. So in the future I wouldn't. But I was thinking, like, just for this one, I hope it's alright. Just to show how I look at my reference and all that. Because I'm not really that good at gathering reference. So normally when I do reference gathering, it's just like this. Like, I just keep going back and forth on a single video. It's probably not that efficient, but as long as I get things done, I'm pretty happy. So I think looking at the negative shapes. Still don't really know how this one is linking up, and this is probably bending a lot more than it should. Like it looks more like a straight square. But it's looking a bit weird. I was gonna say that it's looking a bit better, but it's still, something is not right. I think it's this one now, because this is better now, and then the helmet looks a bit too tall. So I'll bring it down. Did I bring it down? There's probably some cloth going around this. So I think I can use his neck. So a little bit more like this. A bit more green. And then there's a bit of a cloth there. Maybe I will use because it's not really that important right now. I think that's probably good enough progress for now, so I'll just end here. I'm gonna climb later on. Sometimes I feel like it feels quite frustrating that I'm quite slow, but then I try to think about it, think more positive about it, and be like, before this session started, it was just like this. Where is it? Like I started with this. Yeah, it's really important to remember like where you started from, or at least it's very important for me where I started from, so that I don't spiral out of control. And I think that's pretty good. Okay progress, and as things come together, it will get hopefully a bit faster and faster, and then it'll be easier to. So like right now, because I've already created some of the more distinct shapes, I can see like, oh, he's too narrow right now overall. And yeah, before I started, I wouldn't have known like how much wider or not he should be. So I think it's really good progress. Like it's getting there. Yeah, like this bird guy. I really like the design of this mesh thing on his armor, and I feel like I want to incorporate these kind of things in my own sculpt in the future. So this was like a really cool project to do. Yeah. I'll see you in the next one.